All right, guys. Before we continue with any more casts, we can talk about Age of Empires, Age of Mythology, and the history and what actually is happening and what makes sense for the future. I want to preface this with I got no insider knowledge. Nobody says anything about it to me, and everything I'm saying is my opinion. So first and foremost, when Age of Empires 2 got its definitive edition, the Steam sales stopped for Age of Empires 2 HD. When Age of Empires 3 got its definitive edition, Age of Empires 3 stopped getting sales. Age of Mythology Extended Edition has not had a sale since recently. So logically, that either means one of two things. There's going to be some sort of Mythology Definitive Edition remake, or they're completely giving up on Mythology as a whole. So that's the two that we could potentially see where that is concerned. The next thing to think about is, well, Age of Empires has got its new shiny toy, Age of Empires 4, and they are trying really, really hard to get that shiny toy to stay shiny and not get dusted. Unfortunately for a lot of players, the fact that it was released in what I would say a beta form was turned off a lot of players. So you see the very first tournament of Genesis where you had every single pro from all of the different games participating. You had Age of Empires 2 pros, Age of Empires 3 pros, you had Age of Mythology pros, you had Age of Empires Online pros, you had StarCraft 2 pros. Everyone was playing in that game, and they kind of went out. No, I've had enough. After Genesis, basically. And also the viewing numbers kind of went down. So that's kind of disappointing because Age of Empires 4 was the first AAA RTS game released in StarCraft 2. And if they released it today, in the current state that it's in today, then for sure, I reckon it would have a very, very long cycle of success. I think the game would last at least a couple of years before people got bored, and then there would be all of these extra balance patches and stuff. So that's one with that, and I think the Age of Empires 4 creators are going to keep trying to get that game to keep rotating, keep getting him money as it happens. Now, if we talk about potential for an Age of Mythology Definitive Edition beyond what we've seen right now, they have the engine for Age of Empires 3. They've got the engine already made. So the actual design of the big process that they need to do to make a definitive edition is actually quite small. They don't have to do a lot. They need to make the art for all the units, and they need to slot in the code for whatever maps. They probably could even use the similar coding that they used for Age of Empires 3 Definitive Edition. And I think that arguably, had they started Age of Mythology Definitive Edition, say, even January 1st this year, if they started it at the start of this year, or even maybe March this year, then it would be ready for October 30th, which is the 20th anniversary of Mythology. The thing that worries me a little bit is we haven't heard any news at all about it, which means, well, are they going to be releasing it for October? This doesn't seem likely. I would assume there would have been something leaked or something advertising it to get everyone hyped. I don't see the point in saying, here's your surprise present on October 30th. It's Age of Mythology Definitive Edition without any news happening. So that's happening. There was a post recently in the Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition news stuff, which was something along the order of, there's a birthday happening in October. Oh my, someone's having a birthday. La 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 la. Is that Age of Empires 4? Is that Age of Mythology? Is that Age of Empires 2? Is that Age of Empires 3? Is it Age of Empires 1? Every single one of these games was essentially released around that time. So, like, I don't know what they're talking about. No one knows what they're talking about. It could be any of those games. So, yeah. In terms of stuff that we as a Age of Mythology lovers can do, we can't do anything apart from continue to play the game. Unfortunately, Age of Mythology Extended Edition is never going to be able to be a platform at which the pros play on based on numerous reasons. So that might turn the developers off. But there was Age of Empires 2 Age of Empires 2 HD, which I would say the developers weren't too happy with what was happening in the community, where most of the community was still playing on Voobly, still playing and even patching the game in to work on Voobly. So I'm not 100% sure what is happening in their minds. I think for sure, if they release a definitive edition, they know that it's going to make them money. They know that they're making money from it. They know they're not going to lose money. It's a safe project for them to do. It's just whether or not that they feel like they want to do it. And yeah, I guess we can talk a little bit about what potentially I might want from a Mythology Definitive Edition. Effectively, all I want is the networking to be really, really good, so that or modern networking, so that when we play the games, we're not going to see any lag. I just want to see the base 4 civilizations. I don't want to see China in the game. If you want to put China in the game, redesign it, put the time into it. That would be fantastic. I think arguably we could talk about not seeing auto queue in Age of Mythology Definitive Edition full ranked. I think arguably we could talk about that. We could say, look, we'll put auto queue in as a feature, like no Titans, like cheats, like revealed map. That's a feature. You can play with it if you want, but for rated games, height of competitive, it's an RTS game. Probably could arguably see it not be there, but I don't care if it's there or not. In the end of the day, I think I'm just more privy to the idea of maybe the game having more success on an esports angle if that isn't there. But it doesn't matter really when it's coming. And in terms of everything else, make it look pretty. Make sure the pathing is good. Use modern pathing. That's important. No need to do anything crazy maps wise. We've got arguably the best map creator of any RTS game that has random maps in it in Rebels Rising, and he's made the most balanced random maps the world has ever seen, and that's no small thing. So there's no need to go all EE on the maps. People don't realize that they want balanced maps until they play an unbalanced map. When you constantly playing unbalanced maps, you just go, oh, that map was unbalanced and I just lost. No worries, and you move on. But if you play on balanced maps every single time, then you go, oh, they're balanced. And then it's just like you can't complain about maps. It's great. So that's a thing. In terms of actual balance, I mean, you've got all the power to do what you want because everyone will play the game regardless of what you do. But you put in new units, you change the balance. So be careful putting new units in for the Greek, for the Egyptian, for the Norse, for the Atlantean, like you did for Extended Edition. Extended Edition, the Physician is very, very broken. Kopesh can be very, very broken. Bogsviger are incredibly broken. The Onager sees no use. So it's hit or miss 110% of the time. For Definitive Edition, I want the game that we all grew up playing to be the base game. And then from there, you can start adding stuff, in my opinion. If you want to add a new civilization, give the community, give the community its 6 months of Age of Mythology Definitive Edition as if it was original. And then you can start saying, all right, let's add in the Chinese, let's add in the Japanese, let's add in all of this different stuff. And it can be really cool. Finally, the more important thing is, if you are adding in new civilizations, you don't necessarily have to add in a full 3 major god civilization like you did with the Chinese. Something that would be cool is adding in one civilization at a time with one major god. For example, you could add in monotheistic gods or make a just instead of having to spend all the time making a huge fleshed out 3 separate civilizations, you can just say, well, this is one, and these are some of the gods for it, and here's a taster. And then you can say, well, all right, we'll add in a couple more if that one's good or not. You don't have to like go crazy with it. I think from there, that's kind of all I can think of from the top of my head. Just me ranting essentially about potential Age of Mythology Definitive Edition. If you guys have any cool ideas you want to see for Age of Mythology, leave a comment. If you guys 100% want to see a Definitive Edition, leave a comment, post this on the Age of Empires forums, Age of Empires Twitter, all of the places where they might see it, and show the love, because I love this game. I think it's a fantastic game, and that's it. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the chat, and yeah. Age of Mythology Definitive Edition, October 30th. Let's go.